Hello, welcome to Jenny's Food Network. Okay, this pot of soup has been boiling for about 40 minutes now. And I had already put in the garlic and ginger, the minced garlic and ginger. I put in the chicken. And then soon after that, I had chopped the brown, like dried mushroom slices that I had soaked for a while. You only need to soak it for like 30 minutes in hot water. And then you just rinse it out. And there you have the brown stringy dried mushrooms, like fungus. Very good chewy stuff. And I had extra chicken, grilled chicken in the fridge, you know, from making the pasta. Or the fried chicken, grilled chicken, whatever. So I put extra chicken in here. And I'll give the chicken bone thing a whole hour before I start deboning it, removing the meat. But I'll just keep it in there for now to make it more brothier. Okay, so now while this is still going, I'll turn the heat back up to let it boil again. Now I'm going to show you how to cut the cabbage. Some people may be wondering, like, well, how do I get started? How do I cut the cabbage? So here's a nice full-size cabbage head right here. And you know, I had already peeled up the first layer, so you get a nice clean cabbage. Okay, so just in case people might be wondering who aren't familiar with cabbage or don't use cabbage much, how to get started in cutting. I'm using it for soup, so I'm going to cut them in shreds, okay, and you'll see. I'm using them out a little more. Okay, there you go. Okay, so here's the butt end of it, okay? I'm going to go ahead and chop that part off, okay? So it's nice and clean. And this is the core part. The middle part of this cabbage, we're going to cut around it, okay? Because that's the toughest part to eat and cut. And we're not going to eat that part. So you'll see, I'm going to cut it like on this side, and I'm going to cut it on this side. And then I'll cut like that, okay? You'll see. Here we go, just so you can get a better view. So then you have it like this. See? All right. We're going to do it to the other side as well. See, now you have like a flat disc-like cabbage. Now, here's the core still, okay? We're still going to cut down the other side. Turn it to the other side and do the same. Okay, so now here you have the cabbage part. This is the butt end of it, okay? The stem part. Okay, so this is, I can start feeling how tough it is right here. I would only intake the edible part up to here, because that's where the cabbage part is. But this part is the core stem inside the cabbage. You don't want that, okay? So I'm going to cut it up to here. This is what I throw out. You can still see the stem part, internal stem. That core part you don't want. Okay, we're going to throw it out. We don't want that. So now the rest are we're going to want, okay? Alright, so you're like, okay, how do we get started? How do we cut this? We're going to cut them in shreds and slices. You'll see. So here I'm going to start with this piece right here. I'm going to cut. And you will see the cabbage are already in little strings already, okay? But since I have kids, I'm going to cut them more in half. I should have done that in the beginning. So I'm going to cut it in half because it's kind of too long. Okay, we'll cut it in half. And I'm going to put it in here. Okay? So here I'm going to cut the long way. And I'm going to turn it, okay? So it's not too hard to eat for the kids. You can cut it however way you like it, okay? Like I said, be creative. If it's adults eating, you can make them in bigger pieces, but I like it to have it more bite-sized. See? When you lift this up here, they break up very nice and eat. When you put in the soup, they'll break up even more, okay? They're like little, oops. They're like little thin sheets of cabbage. So just throw it in the container. Every time I make this chicken cabbage soup, oh, the guests just love it. Freddie love it. The kids love it. It's very delicious. Very healthy. So here we have again. I'm going to go ahead and cut them in in strips, and then I'm going to cut across. See? Cut them in strips, and then turn it, and then we're going to go across. And make sure you check your soup to make sure that it's not boiling too quickly, but just medium-low. If you boil it too quickly, it's just going to make it evaporate more quickly. So I have it on low right now. Okay, so here we go. Look at that. See how nicely it breaks up? Someone had sent me someone had typed a comment in one of my YouTube videos, mentioned about that he eats kimchi every day because it helps prevent cancer. I said, well, you have to be careful because kimchi is very highly preserved. What's healthy, you know, is the cabbage, is the cabbage they use, you know? So that's healthy, but the seasoning, the sauces, the spices that they use in it, you eat too much of that stuff, that could start causing ulcers in your tummy. So you gotta be very careful when you eat such high, pungent foods that are very highly preserved. If you want it healthier, you're better off making it at home, where you don't put too much of that seasoning, the high concentrated MSG and the spicy stuff that you buy at the grocery store that's already prepared kimchi. So be very careful when you intake kimchi every day. That can definitely shoot up your high blood pressure levels. And that stuff can really make you thirsty and dehydrate you, so be careful when you intake kimchi every day. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish these up. I'm going to scoot up on here, now that you get an idea. Turn it. See how nicely they break up? They're little chopped pieces. Okay, before I even I'm going to put the seasoning at the end, okay, for the soup. Okay, what I want to mention is how now that the chicken, okay, we're going to go back to the soup now. Okay, here's the soup now. I'm going to go, before I put the cabbage in, I'm going to go ahead and remove the chicken and start deboning it, you know, because the chicken was there's only just very thin meat left over on the bones. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out. It wasn't like a whole chicken where it needs to cook longer in the boiling water because of the thick, heavy meat. But this is just very thin meat on the bone, so it's okay. It's been boiled enough. 45 minutes now, cooking in the hot water. I'm going to go ahead and take out the chicken. There's already some chicken breast meat in there that I had used for the pasta early today for the tutorial that I had made today. So there's some extra little chicken breast meat in there, like the grilled chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and take the big chunks of meat out with the bones. I'm going to start deboning it, removing the meat off the bones. Okay, as you can see, there's some chicken pieces in there already from the chicken breast meat I had put in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat back up. The heat is back on high. Okay, I want it to boil. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and transport all that cabbage in there, okay? Here we go. Put all that yummy cabbage in there. And while it's cooking in the pot, I'm going to go ahead and start deboning, removing the meat off the bones. I'm going to throw out the bones and then put the meat back in here. And then I'll start seasoning it with vachetta seasoning and my favorite fish sauce, the 3 Crabs brand. Right now, The cabbage may seem kind of tough, but don't worry, after boiling it for about up to 30 minutes, it's going to start softening down. The flavor of the cabbage is going to come into the soup. It is delicious, you guys. Cabbage soup may seem very bland and tasteless when you eat it raw, but when you put them in soups, oh, they come out amazing. The cabbage and the flavor comes out like really, really amazing. And every time I make the soup and whoever tries it, oh, they love this soup. Look at that. Very yummy. I'm going to zoom in here. Okay. I'm going to stir. Give it a nice stir just so it goes to the bottom as well, so it doesn't just float on the top. Oh, there's another piece of chicken with bones. I like to debone that as well. There, there's one more. Okay, so I have it on high. I'm going to let it start boiling rapidly a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it back down. Don't over boil it because it's just going to evaporate the soup. It's not going to cook the soup any faster. So, okay, we're going to cover it and bring it back to a full boil and then turn it back down. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start deboning the chicken, okay? Oh yeah, and I decided to chop the carrots instead of shredding it with the manual hand tool. It takes too long, so I just manually hand chop the carrots. And so they're in more like a thicker chunk, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in now. If you shred it in little pieces, then you can put it at the end. It doesn't need to be cooked very long because it cooks very fast. But since I chopped it, they're in bigger pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the chopped carrots in there as well. The carrots gives it a very nice color, okay, and plus it's very healthy too. Very healthy, yummy soup. So far it's got the chicken in there, the bones that was boiling in there for about 45 minutes. It's got the dry shredded mushrooms, fungus. It's got minced garlic and ginger. It's got carrots, it's got the cabbage in there now. Just give it a nice stir of it, even it out. It's still on high setting. I'm going to let it boil again. Okay, that's good for now, and let it boil and turn it back down. Alright, stay tuned for the next video.